Justified Season 6, Episode 3, Noblesse Oblige. I believe that's how Raylan said it. I enjoyed this episode. It was definitely cool watching Raylan go through some of his more typical processes. This was, I feel like this was the first one where it was more of a normal style. Like the first episode this season was too, but it was also, the season premiere, it's always like all these different little seeds are dropped, and it's like, with the guy who's like just under the number one guy, who we find out who this guy is in this episode, and I was just like, I don't know what the heck to think right now. I'm like, does she know that she's robbing him? Did she think she was robbing Calhoun too, and all this other stuff? But in the first episode, it was just like the first little hint, like, who's this random guy who totally seems like a villain coming up, just saying like, it's time to sell your land, and I'm here to buy it for cash, and here's just a bunch of cash right now. So, we got like little hints and stuff in the first episode, and all these crazy random little things happening. But this one was just really fun to watch. I think the interaction, like, for one, we got to meet someone that Raylan knew in the past. Like, him and Boyd knew him when they were working in the mines. And we get to meet this guy, we meet his son, and his son is working with basically Boyd's newest guy, and he's like the younger brother of one of the guys who's been in the show for, I want to say 2 seasons now, 2 or maybe even 3 seasons. And their interaction, I thought, was just really funny. Like, him, like, basically using peer pressure, like, hey, I did, this random thing, and he's like, you owe me, so I'm gonna need, some more of the explosives and stuff. And then they get busted, and that had to be my favorite scene, in this episode. And once again, it was a hilarious scene. Like, that was my favorite stuff in the last one, because comedy is really rare. Like, it's not, I shouldn't say it's rare in this show. It's always like Raylan does something really sarcastic, but in the last one with Choo Choo, and in this episode with them getting busted, it was like the funniest thing ever to me. Like, they were just standing there, and it was, I guess because it was just their masks, and they're like, Raylan's like, do they really think we don't know who they are when they don't talk and stuff? And it was just funny. Or I can't think of her name, but I believe the current chief, I believe she said that, and Raylan's like, did you guys not hear the part where I said we followed you here? And it was funny. Like, they were just standing there for like 10 straight seconds. It was just like they were frozen in place with these masks, with the mouths just like, zombie mask, like a goblin mask, and it just looked hilarious. They're like just frozen in place. It's like they just said they completely followed you the whole way here. They know who you are. Even if you don't say anything, it's not like you're gonna get out of it by going into like statue mode with a mask on or something. And it was just so funny to me. Like, they were just standing there. It's like, okay, let's start this over and do it a little bit slower so you can understand. Drop your guns and put your hands up. And it was just so funny to me. And even after they were like lifting the masks up, when the son was like, maybe we should, and the guy cut him off, it's like, shut up, bitch, and stuff like that. It was just silly the way he sounded and said it. And he's thinking he's going to get out of this situation. And it was just funny. And I also didn't expect it to go the way it did, where Raylan's friend did decide to give himself up to protect his son, which, like Raylan said, the odds are it won't go anywhere, because all he has to do, I mean, technically he could easily say, yeah, I'm the one who signed this, and it wasn't my son. They have the same last name. And that's pretty much it. If it's like a jury type thing, obviously they don't go into those specifics. But Raylan says, like, it's not really going to hold water. As much as you might want to help your son, it's not going to do anything. But the guy kind of mentions, like, he's his son, so he's going to do whatever he can. And it was just really nice. And with Raylan letting the guy go back, even he mentioned, like, I do hope I know what I'm doing. I don't really know 100%, but I'm hoping I'm making the right choice right now by letting him be all jittery and stuff and go back to Boyd, who, at this point in time is, incredibly determined. Like, he had like his second warning, almost got his finger chopped off. I was really freaked out that was about to happen. And, he gets freaked out. They visit Ava's house, so they're there, and she's like, crap, I don't know who this guy is. And then, of course, his second in command comes in. And, it was just crazy. Like, I can't really recall a time in the series where Boyd's really had to deal with that. Aside from the time when he was in Mexico and they were, like, pulled over by the cops and stuff, and they really had to get out of that situation. Aside from that, which is still very, very different, because it's like, even if they're dirty cops, it's still cops, you know. So it was still a different situation, but it was like he got kidnapped in his own bar. Then when he's let go, he goes to Ava's, and obviously he sees them there, and it's like, you know, things are really serious, and he finds out who he's really dealing with, and it's not just some random person who's not Calhoun. It's this guy that he knows who has a pretty serious reputation, and who is also sleeping with the guy that Boyd is working with. So, you know, that's just pretty crazy. And like all the stuff that he said, like, do you think that he really won't find out, you know, that you're the one who's setting everything up? So I'm excited to see, you know, like, I don't even know what to really expect. Like, if he finds out, then obviously she'll get killed off. And the stuff with Boyd, he's like 100% determined, like, no, I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna rob him, and then I'm gonna shoot him, and I'm gonna kill him. And, you know, that's really exciting, but he has to come up with some plan. And now, you know, basically every avenue that I could think of, at least, is pretty much gone, unless he hires some random person to come in and say, hey, you go into the pizza place. I mean, there's really not much else they can scope out. They got the pictures from Ava where it's like, okay, here are the beds. 5 guys, we know they go in shifts. This is what the basement looks like. It's in the back of the building, even though she didn't take pictures. You could assume that that's somewhere in between scenes or whatever where they find that out. And they can't really be in there. Like, they can't be in there. The guy's seen, you know, everyone else's faces when he was at the bar, so obviously they can't go in either. And I don't think Boyd is just going to hire some random person to say, like, hey, why don't you come in, scope out whatever random thing that's left to scope out and help us out. So I don't know how he's going to do it, but he's determined, so I'm definitely excited to see it. And, you know, obviously it's going to be just another little step with Raylan getting a little bit closer to having something on Boyd where he makes just another little mistake, or someone else, you know, kind of makes a mistake like in this episode, even though Raylan made the decision to let him go and be really jittery, and hopefully that'll mess up Boyd for him and they'll be able to come in. But I love the episode. Of course, I want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and how is Raylan, or not Raylan, but how do you guys think Boyd is going to really break into this? Like, I know this episode is like super old, so I was there, if you're watching this, you already know how that happened. But, you know, put your guesses down. Like, what were your initial guesses as to what he was going to do, since pretty much every avenue he had was gone just in this episode? He can't go in. None of his people can go in. Ava went in, and so that's already happened. And now there's kind of just nothing left except for brand new people. So what do you guys think he's going to do? Or what was your initial thought process before you actually got to see what he did end up trying to do? So please comment below, let me know. And thanks for watching.